Good evening. This is John Bona, and welcome to the inaugural program entitled The Story of Liberty. This evening we have Kirk Cameron, actor and author Kirk Cameron. You may remember Kirk back in the days of the TV series Growing Pains. He's also done the Left Behind series, which is known to many Christians. And recently Fireproof, which was a 2008 blockbuster, right, Kirk?
Yeah, it did really well, for sure.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good to be talking with you, John.
And Kirk right now is doing a film called Monumental, which will be released this coming Thanksgiving in November. And on the line we have the producer, Dwayne Barnhart. Say hello, Dwayne.
Hello. Good to be here.
Welcome. And also we have Dr. Marshall Foster, who did the written storyline on the film and is out there on the left coast with Kirk. Marshall is the founder of the World History Institute. He was also chaplain for the Los Angeles Rams football team and the author of the bestseller, The American Covenant. Marshall, I know you've done a lot in the homeschool movement as well. Welcome.
Welcome, John. It's always great to be with you.
Great to be with you again. Maybe before we get started, I'll give you a little background on this program, why we're doing this. I mean, I think regardless of, your religious belief or disbelief, any responsible person would conclude that America is in a difficult situation. Even the secular talk show hosts and authors acknowledge America's in a dangerous situation right now. And, to me personally, I think there are few situations more interesting to the human race, to the whole world, really, than the people of America this very day presents. And, we face a tough fight to change the direction of our nation while we still have the opportunity to do so. But let's go back a little bit. And I know, Marshall, you've been very helpful to me in understanding this, that the story of our God-given rights is really the missing link, if you will, to revive America. And that the story of liberty itself reached its crescendo in America with the Mayflower Compact and the landing of the Pilgrims almost 400 years ago. And that's what we'll be talking about this evening. And this film, Monumental, has a lot to do with that. But we need to say, really, that the story began in Nazareth when Christ gave his first sermon to his home synagogue. And the story is detailed in Luke 4. We read there that he opened the scroll to Isaiah 61. And he read the prophecy for the purpose of his coming, for the Messiah's coming. He detailed that he came to heal the brokenhearted and the blind and to preach the gospel to the poor. But when he came to the subject of liberty, he said that he came to set the captives free. And then, interestingly, he repeated it a second time, saying that he came to set free those in bondage. And when Christ finished reading, he sat down and told the people that were in this room with him that the prophecy had been fulfilled in their midst. So we see really the liberation of the world beginning on that day. And Christ unleashed this loving message of redemption and the power and the principles that would bring liberty to the nations. And from here we see this clear paper trail all the way, and I guess that's probably as far as we'll go back in this program, back to the Magna Carta, which is 1215. But we see that those freedom documents emanated from the Magna Carta all the way through the English Bill of Rights, the Compact, to our very own Declaration of Independence and Constitution. So that's what this program's about. You know, let's face it, tyrants have struggled to keep men in bondage in different nations, and but on the other hand, we've seen what has come out of a disaster and how these poor pilgrim people we're going to talk about this evening, how they founded this great nation, and how they were driven from their homes. And out of all that distress and bitterness has come the greatest nation, the freest world in the world that has ever been known. But there's one more point before we get started I want to take notice to. That while these oppressors over time have carried out their plans, and it seems like they've had things their own way, there were always other forces at work in time which undermined their plans, as if, you know, a divine hand was directing a counterplan. And I think without understanding this feature, one cannot understand the meaning of history. And Dr. Foster will be discussing that with us. See, there must be a meaning to history. It's just not a series of coincidences. Nations, we will see through this program, have risen and fallen, and generations come and go, but yet through the ages, there has been an advancement of truth and justice and virtue and liberty. And thank you guys for listening in and being with me, and I look forward to hearing from you. So, Kirk, you're making a film called Monumental. And,
yes, that's right.
How's it going?
It's going great. I'm very excited about it. This is really this is really my inaugural production. I've worked in a lot of other films that have been produced by other people, and this is the first film I've had a chance to produce. And I couldn't be more excited about the team of guys that we're working with. Dr. Marshall Foster, we've known each other for 5 years or so, and I've learned more in these last 5 years about freedom in America and world history than I have in all the years of school growing up. And Dwayne Barnhart and I have worked together for over 10 years through some other programs that we've done together. And we're now in past the principal photography phase. We've been to Europe. We've been to the East Coast and the West Coast. We've interviewed amazing and fascinating people, including my grandfather, who was in World War II as a medic in the war and got a Purple Heart. And he's shared his thoughts on freedom and kind of the direction that our country is headed. And we're in the editing phase now, so it's really starting to heat up. We've got some trailers ready to show people, and we're in the final stretch for when it releases later in the fall.
I remember when you were here, Kirk, you told me when you and Marshall and Dwayne were at the Vero Beach Prayer Breakfast last month, and you told me that from the inception of the film, it was your goal and Marshall's to rediscover the forgotten national treasure of America. And
yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to kind of let you know how this whole thing developed, how it evolved from the very beginning. But was there something else you wanted to mention first? No. Okay. Well, I've never been a big history buff. History was not what really, floated my boat in school growing up. But as a dad, father of 6 kids, I'm looking at my kids' future, and I'm thinking, man, there couldn't be a better place for them to grow up than America. Or could there? I look on the news now, and my dad's calling me all the time, and he's saying that, have you heard what Glenn Beck is saying? Have you heard what these guys are saying? And you look all around, and financially, morally, and spiritually, it appears as though our country is headed for disaster if we don't change course and figure out what it is that is sinking this ship. We're so far in debt financially. The world scene is so tense. Morally, we've got to break down the family, and spiritually, it's just America's lost its way. It's lost its identity. And when you lose your identity and your sense of direction spiritually, everything else will begin to crumble. All of your morality, your laws, your sense of vision of where you're going. And then, as the proverb says, the people perish. And I don't want that for my kids. So I began talking to Marshall Foster about what made this country so exceptional and unique in the first place. Why do we have the country that everyone has always wanted to live in for hundreds and hundreds of years? Well, it's because of freedom. And Marshall told me a story of the real liberators and the freedom fighters that can be traced back thousands of years, and then ultimately all of their efforts culminating in this small little band of people on the Mayflower who came across the Atlantic and founded the world's greatest nation. And he took me on a journey to Plymouth, Massachusetts, which launched me on a greater journey across the Atlantic to retrace the escape route of the Pilgrims in England all the way to Holland, where they stayed for 12 years, and then came across, of course, to Plymouth Rock. And then from there, I connected the dots between the Pilgrims and our founding fathers in Washington, D.C., Jefferson and Washington and the rest of the guys who signed the Constitution and the men of the Declaration, and put together a story that demonstrates how our forefathers left us a map that will guide us back to the source and foundation of America's freedoms so that we can maintain them for our children, and this nation doesn't go the way of Rome or go the way of other great empires that had greatness in at least prosperity in some sense, not to the degree that America does, but then fell off the cliff because they didn't follow the only true strategy for freedom. And it's been a very exciting adventure, and I want to share that with everyone through the film as we've documented the whole process.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Kirk Cameron, for that introduction on the film. We're just going to break away and be back in a minute.